Let's take a picture. It could be at the air. There's some back here, too.
Prosecutors began laying out the state's case this morning.
This case, of course, gained international attention when it happened.
It occurred to me what this case is really about.
She wrote it down. In a court document filed in 2017 in the Superior Court of Stamford, Connecticut, Jennifer Dulos put into writing what she believed would happen if she tried to leave her marriage. I know that filing for divorce and filing this motion will enrage him. I know he will retaliate by trying to harm me in some way. She filed the motion anyway. 2 years later, on the morning of May 24th, 2019, Jennifer dropped her 5 children off at school in New Canaan, Connecticut. She drove home. She pulled into her garage, and she was never seen again. Her body has never been found.
She hasn't shown up for any of her appointments today. No one's seen her or heard from her all day long. Yes, that's correct, officer. And she's going through an incredibly nasty divorce with a man he's threatened her and he's been violent towards her in the past.
The words she wrote 2 years before she disappeared were entered into evidence at trial.
Where is she? Where is she?
A jury read them. The prosecutor read them aloud. The woman who wrote them was not there to hear it. She had already told everyone exactly what was coming.
In 2017, I am afraid of my husband. I know that filing for divorce and filing this motion will enrage him. I know he will retaliate by trying to harm me in some way.
She had written it down, and it happened anyway. This is the case of Jennifer Farber Dulos.
Yeah, this is the mother of 5 young kids.
Search for missing mother Jennifer Dulos.
Trying to find any evidence in the disappearance of Jennifer Farber Dulos.
State and local authorities are both investigating.
And this is the open file. New Canaan, Connecticut, is a town of approximately 20,000 people in Fairfield County, one of the wealthiest counties in the United States. It sits in the commuter belt southwest of Hartford, the kind of town that appears in real estate listings with words like established and gracious and sought after. Its streets are shaded by trees that have been growing for a century. Its schools are private and excellent. Its houses are large and well maintained and set back from roads that feel quiet even on weekday mornings. It is the kind of town that is difficult to associate with violence. Not because violence does not live there, it lives everywhere, but because everything about its surface is designed to suggest otherwise. Jennifer Dulos had moved to New Canaan 2 years before she disappeared. She had left the home she shared with her estranged husband in Farmington, 40 miles northeast, and rented a house on Wells Lane, where she was living with her 5 children and their nanny. She had filed for divorce. She had been awarded sole physical custody of the children.
So now you have the emotion of a divorce, the emotion of children involved, and now you have the financial troubles. He stood to lose everything.
She was, by every visible measure, building the life she intended to have after the marriage ended. On the morning of May 24th, 2019, she drove her 5 children to the New Canaan Country School. She dropped them off. She drove home. A neighbor's security camera captured her pulling into Wells Lane at 8:05 in the morning. She was never captured on camera again.
Officers quickly discovered Jennifer's abandoned suburban SUV in nearby Waveney Park.
The tailgate was backed up against this tree. The Suburban was not running, keys were not in the ignition. You could see the cleanup of the blood-like substance all over the passenger side under a flashlight.
Jennifer Farber was born on September 27, 1968, in New York City. Her family had, quietly and without announcement, made a particular kind of mark on the American cultural landscape. Her maternal uncle and aunt by marriage, Elizabeth Claiborne and Arthur Ortenberg, had founded Liz Claiborne Inc.
It was clear that she came from a very accomplished family. In fact, she is related to the iconic clothing designer Liz Claiborne.
A fashion company that would become one of the most recognized names in American retail. Jennifer grew up with the particular gravity of a family that had built something.
Her mother has a PhD from Columbia. Her father was an executive at Chase Manhattan Bank, and then he founded his own brokerage firm.
And she carried that gravity with her in the way people do when achievement is woven into the texture of ordinary life. She graduated from Brown University in 1990. She later earned a master's degree in writing from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. She was a writer. She ran her own blog. She wrote for Patch.com. She thought carefully and precisely about language, about how words work, about what they convey, about what it means to set something down on paper and have it mean something. She had 5 children, 3 sons and 2 daughters, including 2 sets of twins, all named after Greek Orthodox saints: Petros, Theodore and Constantine, Christian and Cleopatra Noel. They were between 8 and 13 years old when their mother disappeared. People who knew her described her as warm, deeply intelligent, tenacious, a person who, when she committed to something, committed entirely, who found the ordinary rhythms of motherhood, the school runs, the homework, the dinner table, not a burden, but a purpose, who was, by every account, present for her children in the particular way that some parents are, as though each moment with them was something not to be passed through but inhabited.
I am the spokesperson for the family and friends of Jennifer Farber Dulos. Jennifer was also a very close personal friend of mine. Jennifer was exquisitely beautiful, glamorous and stunning, but even on a daily basis, she was downplaying her physical gorgeousness.
She'd known, before she vanished, what was at risk. She had known the specific shape of the danger she was in. She had said so in writing, in a court of law.
In essence, what Jennifer hired was a legal machine to perpetuate legal conflict. 500 motions filed in 2 years.
We would call that a scorched earth type of a divorce here, where there is just nothing amicable about this divorce.
2 years before anyone needed to read those words at trial, Fotis Dulos was born on August 6, 1967, in Turkey. He grew up in Athens, Greece. He moved to the United States in 1986 and, like Jennifer, attended Brown University. Graduating in 1989, 1 year before her. He later earned an MBA in finance from Columbia Business School. He was tall, physically imposing, articulate in the way that people with good educations in finance can be.
He was charming, he was handsome, he had his own luxury home build company, and they seemed to very much want the same things for the future.
Fluent in the language of projections and returns and vision. He founded 4 Group Inc., a real estate development company based in Connecticut, specializing in luxury homes. He was, in the early years, successful enough. He built large, expensive houses for wealthy clients. He developed a portfolio. He cultivated the image of a man who built things that lasted. He and Jennifer had met at Brown, or stayed in contact after Brown. He was still married to his first wife when he began emailing Jennifer. They married in Manhattan, just over a month after his divorce from his first wife was finalized. They had 5 children. They lived for several years in a 10,000 square foot, 6-bedroom house on Jefferson Crossing in Farmington that Fotis owned through his company. By the time Jennifer filed for divorce in 2017, Fotis Dulos was, by every financial measure, in ruins. His real estate business had faltered. He owed $1.7 million, later contested as more, to Jennifer's family.
Jennifer's father very much wanted to support Fotis. He wanted to help get 4 Group off the ground.
Loans made by her late father, Hilliard Farber, that had never been repaid. Gloria Farber, Jennifer's mother, had filed a civil lawsuit.
Dulos' mother-in-law claims Fotis Dulos owes money to her late husband's estate.
Fotis Dulos is at the center of a battle over millions of dollars. Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber, sued him for allegedly owing her late husband's estate $2.5 million in loans.
The divorce proceedings added legal costs that compounded an already catastrophic financial picture. He had also, Jennifer alleged in her filings, been having an affair with his colleague, Michelle Troconis, a native of Venezuela, who had moved into the Farmington home after Jennifer left.
As soon as Jennifer left, Fotis switched hotels and got himself a suite so that he and Michelle could be alone.
Troconis had a young daughter of her own from a prior relationship. The divorce was, in every sense, a threat to everything Fotis Dulos still had. Sole custody for Jennifer meant supervised visitation for him. The civil lawsuit from Jennifer's mother threatened to strip away what remained of his assets. The marriage he was losing had been the context for the business he was losing. Jennifer had understood this calculation when she made her decision.
Jennifer and Fotis' lives carried on. Michelle moved into the Farmington family home with Fotis, while Jennifer relocated with the kids over 70 miles away to a rental in New Canaan.
She had understood that a man with nothing left to lose in a courtroom is a different kind of threat than a man who still has something to protect. She had written it down. On the morning of May 24th, 2019, a Friday, Jennifer Dulos drove her 5 children to the New Canaan Country School for the last time. She dropped them off. She drove back to Wells Lane. A neighbor's security camera recorded her returning home at 8:05 in the morning. She had 2 doctor's appointments scheduled in New York City that day, one at 11 a.m., one at 1 p.m. She did not arrive for either of them. There was no call, no message, no indication that she had decided not to come. She simply did not appear. At 11:30 a.m., her nanny, Lauren Almeida, arrived at the Wells Lane house. She was surprised to find Jennifer's Range Rover in the garage. Jennifer had planned to take it to New York City. It was parked exactly where it would be if Jennifer had never left. Almeida could not reach Jennifer. By 7 p.m., when hours of unanswered calls had accumulated, Jennifer's friends reported her missing.
We all mutually determined that the police needed to be called.
Police responded to Wells Lane that evening. What they found in the garage was not consistent with Jennifer having left on her own. Blood spatter on the floor, blood on the door, blood on a wall, blood on the exterior of the Range Rover, blood in the kitchen and on the kitchen faucet, a mixture of 2 people's DNA, Jennifer's and Fotis's. The evidence was not ambiguous. It told a story of a significant violent assault.
The community's scared.
It's hard to imagine.
How calm are you going to be if your next door neighbor disappeared and they found blood in the garage?
Of a woman attacked in her own garage, in her own home, before anyone thought to look for her. Jennifer's Chevrolet Suburban, the vehicle she had not planned to use that day, had been captured on the same neighbor's security camera, leaving the Wells Lane driveway at 10:25 that morning. Investigators determined that Fotis was the one driving it. They believe he had arrived at her home earlier that morning, before she returned from the school run. They believe he came by bicycle. Tire marks and other evidence found at the scene are consistent with that. They believe he was already there when she pulled into the garage at 8:05. They believe he was waiting for her.
When you know somebody in town and it's just right around you, it's scary.
Find the woman and hopefully she's alive.
The Suburban was found later that day, abandoned near Waveney Park in New Canaan, 3 miles from Jennifer's house. Fotis's DNA was not in the car. Jennifer's blood was.
To me, it looked like blunt force trauma or sharp force trauma, or a combination of both.
At 7:30 that evening, while Jennifer's friends and nanny were beginning to realize she was missing, while police were making their way to Wells Lane, surveillance cameras on Albany Avenue in Hartford captured 2 people, a man and a woman, moving along a 4-mile stretch of the avenue, stopping at more than 30 locations. At each stop, placing garbage bags into different trash cans, distributing them across the stretch of road, not concentrating them in any one place, in the manner of people who understood that what they were doing required a degree of deliberation.
Yes, he stopped and we stopped. He throws something from the back, a bag, I don't know what, and wasn't really paying attention.
Eliminated every other car and only focused on black pickup trucks. And there's the camera.
Police obtained the footage. They enhanced it. They identified the man as Fotis Dulos and the woman as Michelle Troconis. Officers collected the garbage bags from the trash cans along Albany Avenue. What they found inside those bags was the evidence of what had happened in the garage on Wells Lane that morning.
They found items of clothing cut to shreds, as well as undergarments with blood-like stains. A shirt that Jennifer was thought to have been wearing on the day she was last seen was stained with blood.
Blooded clothing, blood-stained cleaning materials, the tools of a cleanup. The blood was Jennifer's. Fotis's DNA was found on the inside of a glove recovered from one of the bags. On one of the bags itself. The 30 locations, the measured distribution along a 4-mile stretch of road, the deliberate separation of the bags so that no single discovery would reveal the full picture.
State police have received hundreds of tips in this case.
This is my community. We do know a lot of the same people. I know Waveney Park like the back of my hand. I walk my dog there. I taught my kids to ride their bikes there. So this really does hit home for me. In the days that waned on, the nervousness in the community was palpable as the investigators were looking for suspects, looking for Jennifer, and eliminating suspects like her estranged husband, Fotis.
It was not the behavior of a man who did not know what was in those bags. It was not the behavior of someone who had stumbled into something he didn't understand. It was the behavior of a man who had spent his day after his wife's garage, moving through a city with methodical care, trying to make something disappear. He almost succeeded. Jennifer Dulos, 6 years later, has never been found. On June 1st, 2019, 8 days after Jennifer vanished, police arrested Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis at a hotel in Avon, Connecticut.
Michelle, where is Jennifer? Do you know where Jennifer is? Her disappearance. Are you innocent?
Their father was the lead suspect for something having happened to Jennifer.
Fotis, anything you want to say here today?
Where'd you bury her, Fotis?
The charges, at that stage, were tampering with evidence and hindering prosecution. The surveillance footage from Albany Avenue, the garbage bags, the deliberate concealment of what had happened. Not yet murder. There was not yet enough to bring that charge. A body had not been found. A body has not been found to this day. Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber, moved quickly. 2 days after the arrests, she filed for emergency custody of the 5 children. She was granted temporary custody. The children, Petros, Theodore, Constantine, Christiane, and Cleopatra, moved to New York City to live with their grandmother. Their nanny, Lauren Almeida, went with them. They were between 8 and 13 years old. They had last seen their mother on the morning she drove them to school. Fotis and Troconis pleaded not guilty. Both were released on bail. In the months that followed, they were arrested again on additional tampering charges and again pleaded not guilty.
Statistically, when something like this happens, 90 or 95% is the spouse.
Say yes, 90% of the time it is the spouse.
But it's 90%, it's not 100%.
So when people...
I'm in the 5 or 10% category.
Troconis moved out of the Farmington house in late October 2019, taking her daughter with her. Fotis remained in Farmington. He hired an attorney who argued publicly and consistently that Fotis was innocent, that the evidence was circumstantial, that a man should not be convicted on surveillance footage and blood evidence without a body. He would never stand trial.
We categorically deny that Mr. Dulos had any involvement in the disappearance of his wife, Jennifer, and we defy the state to prove that she is in fact dead.
Can you tell us where you think she might be?
Same answer.
On January 7th, 2020, 7 months after Jennifer disappeared, Connecticut State Police arrested Fotis Dulos again. This time, the charge was murder, capital murder, kidnapping. The full weight of what investigators had spent 7 months building from a garage floor, from 30 garbage bags along Albany Avenue, from the DNA on a glove, from the blood of a woman who had not been found. Michelle Troconis was arrested on the same day, charged with conspiracy to commit murder. And on the same day, a third man was arrested, Kent Douglas Mulhiney, Fotis's friend, his former attorney, a man who'd been, by account of those around him, in Fotis's orbit throughout the preceding months. Mulhiney's estranged wife had gone to police. She had told investigators that she was afraid of Fotis Dulos, that she believed Fotis and Mulhiney had been working together on something she did not want to fully name. She feared for her own safety. She described conversations that had left her certain that whatever had been planned, Mulhiney had been part of it.
Mulhiney's estranged wife, Sherry Haddock, mentions in these court documents that Fotis called her multiple times, which she thought was pretty strange since they only met once, and that was back in 2014.
In August 2019, while Fotis was free on bail from the initial charges, police had found something on a secluded property that Mulhiney owned, a shallow grave. Inside 2 bags of lime and a blue tarp. No body. Whatever had been intended for that grave had been removed before investigators arrived. Fotis Dulos' bond was set at $6 million. He posted it. He was released. He was due in court on February 28, 2020. He did not appear. On January 28, 2020, the morning he was supposed to appear at an emergency bond hearing, police went to Fotis Dulos' home in Farmington because he had not shown up. They found him in his garage. He had run a vacuum cleaner hose from the exhaust pipe of his SUV into the interior of the car. The vehicle was parked inside the garage with the engine running. He was unresponsive when they arrived. Responders performed CPR and restored a faint pulse. He was transported to a hospital in Connecticut, then transferred to Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx for hyperbaric oxygen therapy. His 5 children went to see him before he was taken off life support. Fotis Dulos died on January 30th, 2020. He left a note. In it, he proclaimed his innocence. He said he had not killed Jennifer. He said he could not face the prospect of spending decades in a prison cell for something he maintained he did not do. He had chosen his garage, the same architectural feature, the same enclosed domestic space where investigators believed Jennifer died, to end his own life. He had been 52 years old. He was never convicted. He was never acquitted. He was charged with murdering his wife and died before a jury could evaluate the evidence. He maintained, to the last words he chose to write, that he had not done it. The evidence that had been gathered, the surveillance footage, the blood, the DNA, the garbage bags, the timeline, the words Jennifer wrote in 2017, was now evidence in a case whose primary suspect would never face a jury. What remained were 2 people who had stood beside him. Michelle Troconis went to trial in January 2024. The case against her was not that she had killed Jennifer Dulos. The case against her was that she had known, that she had been present, that she had participated in the disposal of the evidence, that she had conspired in the concealment of a murder. The trial lasted weeks.
I believe, I'll just say this, Your Honor, although there may be some hint of cynicism in that statement. Ms. Troconis, her first language is not English, although I can communicate with her in English. I also communicate with her in Spanish, which I speak. And if we're going to do anything more technical than just stand in front of the court.
The jury heard from investigators, from forensic analysts, from witnesses who had seen the footage from Albany Avenue, who had handled the garbage bags, who had processed the DNA results. They heard about the 30 locations, the gloves, the blood. They heard Jennifer's own words from her 2017 divorce filing read into the record.
Here's the fact. Fotis killed Jennifer. Okay? This is a fact. We know this. We need to find Jennifer.
If you had to get rid of a body which was no longer one piece, where would you go?
Me?
Or where do you think Fotis might go? Okay, I'm not saying where would Fotis have gone to take either Jennifer or parts of Jennifer to get rid of her.
On March 1st, 2024, the jury found Michelle Troconis guilty. Guilty on all 6 counts: conspiracy to commit murder, tampering with physical evidence across 2 separate dates, hindering prosecution. On May 31st, 2024, a judge sentenced her to 14.5 years in prison. She is currently serving that sentence. Kent Moeni, the 3rd man, the former attorney, the man on whose property the shallow grave had been found, did not go to trial. In June of 2025, prosecutors determined they lacked sufficient evidence to prove the original conspiracy charge. The charge was reduced. Mohini pleaded guilty to a single misdemeanor count of interfering with an officer. His sentence, 11 months. Time he had already served. He walked out of the courtroom a free man. Jennifer's family released a statement. They said they were deeply disappointed, that the plea did not reflect what they believed Mohini knew or what he had done. that it felt, in their words, like a door closing before it had fully opened. The shallow grave on Mawhinney's property is still there, empty. Jennifer Farber Dulos was declared legally dead on October 24th, 2023. 4 years after she disappeared. The declaration was expedited at the request of her family. Gloria Farber, Jennifer's mother, who had raised the 5 children since the June following Jennifer's disappearance, was at an advanced age. The children needed to be able to inherit. The estate needed to be settled. Life, the ordinary administrative machinery of life, needed Jennifer to be declared what everyone had long accepted she was. The court granted the request. Her body has not been found. The 5 children, who were between 8 and 13 years old when their mother dropped them at school and drove home for the last time, are now young adults. They have been raised by their grandmother and their nanny. They have grown up inside the particular silence of a family that has lost someone and never had the full answer, who know what is believed to have happened, but do not have the physical confirmation that a grave, a burial, a found body can provide. Jennifer's friend Carrie Luft, speaking on behalf of the family as the 5th anniversary passed in 2024, said this: "For us, 5 years is not a milestone, but a marker of cumulative loss and longing. Life goes on, yet grief goes on alongside it. A shadow, a current, the presence of absence. We hold fast in our belief that Jennifer's body will be found. The presence of absence. There is a law in Connecticut now that carries Jennifer's name. Jennifer's Law, named for Jennifer Dulos and Jennifer Magnano, another victim of domestic violence in Connecticut, was signed by Governor Ned Lamont on June 28, 2021. It expanded the state's definition of domestic violence to include coercive control, the systematic pattern of behavior that isolates, monitors, and degrades a partner without ever requiring a physical act. The kind of behavior that Jennifer had described in her divorce filings. The kind that does not always leave marks. The kind that is, by design, difficult to prove. Her name is on the law now. She did not live to see it. Jennifer Dulos wrote down what she knew. In 2017, facing the prospect of what the divorce would unleash, she wrote that he would retaliate, that he would try to harm her in some way. She put those words into a legal document, signed them, filed them with a court of law, and then continued living. Continued raising her children, continued building a life in New Canaan, continued going to school drop-offs and doctor's appointments, and all the ordinary rhythms of a life being rebuilt. She was not wrong. She was precise, in the way that careful writers with graduate degrees in writing tend to be. She named the threat correctly. She mapped the motive accurately. She told a court, 2 years in advance, what would eventually happen. And it happened anyway. That is the particular weight of this case. Not just that Jennifer Dulos was murdered, or that she was murdered by a man who could not afford to lose his divorce, or that her body has never been found, or that the man who killed her died before facing a jury, or that a woman who helped him dispose of her is serving 14.5 years, while another man walked free. All of those things are true, and they carry their own weight. But the weight that does not lift, the weight that sits at the center of this case, like something that cannot be set down, is those words. I know that filing for divorce will enrage him. I know he will retaliate by trying to harm me in some way. She knew. She wrote it down. She told the court. She asked for protection. She was awarded custody. She moved to a different town. She filed the motions. She did, by every legal and institutional measure, what a woman in her position was supposed to do. And on the morning of May 24th, 2019, she drove her children to school, drove home, pulled into her garage, and was never seen again. Her body is still out there. Her mother still believes it will be found. Her children are still waiting for the question that a found grave can answer, but a declaration of legal death cannot. And the words she left in that court document, precise, correct, and ultimately unable to save her, are still there too. What no one knew, what no one could have imagined, was how completely she had already named what was coming, how clearly she had seen it, how little that seeing was able to protect her. It is a case with a conviction and a signed law, and a family that is still searching. And still, in the most fundamental way, with no answer to the question that matters most. Where is Jennifer? The silence around that question is still loud. And sometimes, in cases like this, that wait is all that remains.